Hi, I'm Val. Welcome to my studio. I'm excited to have you here today. I am going to share with you 9 different things that you can do with your block printed fabric or things that you can block print on for gifts. These are all really quick gifts, some quicker than others, of course. Some take a pattern and some you can do on your own. No pattern involved. So I'm going to jump right into it. As you know, I love to block print, and a lot of times I block print some large pieces of fabric and then cut them up and make them into things. So this is the road trip case by Noodlehead. And I was going to the beach and I gave my mom, she was teaching this class, a piece of my fabric. So she made me my own. So I had a piece that had direction in it, and so I had her seam it in the middle, but it's super fun, great way to make a really unique case. And I took all my stuff out of it, but you can see how fun it is. I used a piece of indigo fabric on the inside. So that's a fun project. Now, our next project I'm going to share is the modern Japanese rice pouch. Here's the pattern. We love this. My mom found this and has been making them like crazy. The first one I made is this guy, and it was a piece of fabric that, again, I cut apart and then put in here. I made the bigger size. She gives you options for 3 sizes. I made the bigger size so that I could fit my knitting. Now, this one is a gift for a friend of mine for Christmas. She doesn't know it yet. And what I did with this was pieced my outside and then I block printed on it, as you can see. And then I did my stitching and sewed it into the bag. So many fun options. So if you have like scraps that you test printed on, those would be really fun to piece into something like this. All right, now we're gonna go into this fun thing from Coco Knits. So Coco Knits does these handles and these linen bags that I block printed on. So you can get the bag already pre-sewn, has your little Coco Knits label on it, and block print on it, put your handles on. Or if you have your own fabric or a piece that you've already block printed on, you just get the leather handles and it comes with the instructions on how to make this part. So it's really great. So if you don't want to go to the effort of cutting the fabric and sewing it and all that, you can buy the pre-made bag. So it's kind of fun, and personalize it by adding your block printing. This is a great project bag also, especially for like knitters and stuff. All right, now moving along to a couple other bags, because I love bags. And this is one of my patterns, which is a round project bag. It's really great for knitting because your yarn can come out of the top of the bag. I had a piece of fabric that I had block printed and cut it apart and sewed it together to create this bag. So you could do that, have a pre-printed piece, or you could cut your shape and then print on it. A couple different options there. And this is super fun. The other thing I would say, I like the grommets, which are really a fun little accent, but you could also do a buttonhole here if you don't want to go get grommets or if you don't have access to grommets. Alrighty. My favorite thing to make in the whole world are zipper pouches. This is one of my other sewing cards, and this guy tells you basically how to make any zipper pouch, any size. So I have several different varieties here. This one was made from a piece of fabric that was pieced together, right? And then I printed on it, then I cut it apart into the zipper pouch, added a little gusset on the bottom. These are flat, again though, pre-printed piece, and then I just cut it apart and put it in there. And there's the other one. So it's a great way to do a focus piece that you have, use up scraps, you can piece them all together and then cut them apart and make them any size zipper pouch you want. Now, I have a few things here that don't require a pattern. Kind of fun, simple things to do. One of my favorites is coasters. So as you know, I carve a lot of square blocks. So this is just a square block. And I made sure when I printed, I left a 1/2 inch around each piece and then sewed it together and top stitched it. So it like a pillow, so you put right sides together, so around 1/4 inch. So you can see I have an extra 1/4 inch here. I could have come in right to the edge, but I also know that I may not have the exact perfect block. So I gave myself a little room. Anyway, these are super fun, great little gifts. And you can use any square block you want and just make it to the size that you need for a coaster. Or you could easily take a large piece of fabric that you've already printed that has a variety of things on it and cut that into coasters. So this little block is a 4-inch block. So I would have cut my fabric 4.5 by 4.5, okay? So there we go. Now, you gotta love some block printed placemats. These guys, I actually cut the fabric first before I printed it. I cut it 12.5 by 18.5. And then I printed it, cut a back, sewed together with 1/4 inch. So they end up being 12 by 18. And it's great if you do you could do a wide variety of different blocks. You could do all the same. These again are a gift for someone. You could easily come in here and add a little top stitching around. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna leave them just like this because I think they're really pretty. So there's that. Now I have another series of placemats. These were made from one large piece of fabric. I had a yard of fabric and I went and cut it apart. Some of them I got the full piece of 12 by 18 here. There's another one. Then some of my pieces were a little too small. So I added a strip on the bottom here of this one. Still a little too small, so I added a strip of indigo on the bottom of that. Obviously, and then I did a bunch of stitching. The stitching was done after. So, oh, look at all that thread. Sorry about that. So you could use these reversible if you wanted to. So you can make your stitching an accent to the back side of your placemat too. And there's the last one. All right, now this last guy that I'm going to show you that doesn't have a pattern is a table runner. Now, this was a large piece of fabric that I stitched strips and strips and strips on it. And it's really long, so it'll go on my table and hang over the edge. So what I would suggest if you wanted to do this, measure how big you want a table runner. Then I take a base cloth, like a muslin or something like that, and I cut that size. I add my strips of fabric that I'm gonna top stitch down with this little zigzag is how I top stitched them down. And I lay it all on there, make sure they're a little bit larger than that back piece of fabric. Once that is done, I print. Print. After you stitched, of course, right? So you print on it, then you just make a back, trim it all up, and voila, you have a beautiful table runner. I use this in the holidays, even though it doesn't scream holidays, because to me, it says holidays. It says festive and celebrate. So the last thing, one more thing on the block printing list, doesn't require any sewing. Let's say you have a piece of fabric. Here's a piece of printed fabric. And what I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna wrap a gift. So here's my little gift. I found this book called Wrapping with Fabric. It has a ton of great ideas. I love, love, love giving fabric wrapped gifts to, especially to my crafty sewy friends. So it's a great way to almost give 2 gifts in one. So we're gonna lay this down. You put this guy in at an angle. You fold this over and tuck it under. Then you fold this over. Now, I'm not super great at this, but I'm getting better with every time. This is like one of the most basic wraps. So I fold it all over like this. And then I will tuck this under and come up with the guy like this. Put it to the side for a second while I tuck this under and come up. Then all we're gonna do is tie a really pretty knot. All right, here we go. So once you have it like this, the key to tying this knot really well is to take this piece back here and tuck under. And you will get pretty good. And there is your cute little gift for your friend. All right, you guys, I know you have lots of fabric around, whether it's block printed or not. These are some great last minute gifts or gifts to start now for your friends and family. I hope you have a great day, and thanks for hanging out with me today.